So before I get started, I want to tell you to take a second, make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. YouTube is doing something with the algorithm again, going around and unsubbing people that they deem don't need to be subbed to a channel. I'm not the only creator talking about this. Quite a few creators have brought this up. So I just want you to make sure you're subscribed, because what will happen is they'll still recommend the videos. If you don't click on them, and that's understandable. Not everybody watches every video. You eventually won't see them anymore. That's kind of the goal of what they want. I don't know why they do this, but it's happening, and there's nothing I can do about it. All I can do is remind you to subscribe. So, now what's going on here? Terminator Woke Fate, as I like to call it. It's a dud. It's going to be a dud. We already see it. So you probably didn't know this unless you were looking, but Terminator Dark Fate has actually already been going around in some countries. Launched over in Europe, notably the UK and Germany. Now, I'll talk about that in a second. I do want to point out Rotten Tomatoes. Look at that critic score. I'm super shocked about this because this movie has everything that they like. Takes out the white kid. He's gone. Now John Connor is irrelevant. I'm going to get to that in a second. And the leader of the resistance is a 5', 90-pound girl who's also illegally in the country, by the way. So you would think this has everything they want in a movie. But guess what? For once, critics and audiences are probably going to be united in a movie because it's already internationally launched. 10 countries have been showing it for like a week. That's why we have spoilers. And I'm going to go over the spoilers. I encourage you to stick around for them. I don't recommend this movie. I don't recommend that you go see it. I want it to fail. I want it to be a complete dud. I'm not going to go watch it. I already know everything that happens. I've read all the spoilers, and you can too. I'll link it in the description for you to check out yourself. So, Dark Fate's international box office did not pull in great box office numbers. And so we have it here. Terminator Dark Fate opened in 10 countries this past weekend and was only able to drum up $12.8 million in business. That's pathetic. And they do point out here that a lot of these countries, Thailand, Sweden, Singapore, aren't big. You're not going to launch a movie there and expect it to bring out big numbers. However, it did still premiere in France, Germany, and the UK. Those are places where you can make big, big money. Now, the real test will be this weekend as it opens up here in America, and I believe it opens up in China too around the same date. So those will be the real tests. I could be completely wrong. But the buzz around this movie, it's just not there. And I don't see it doing well. And let me tell you why. Personally, I have the same problem with this movie that I had with Terminator Genisys. Though I have to say, I don't think Genisys was that bad of a movie. It could have gotten better. You have to remember, it was supposed to be a trilogy. That's not going to happen now, obviously. They're going to have this trilogy, which I don't think is going to happen either. I think this will likely be it for the Terminator movies. I don't see them trying again after this, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So within the first 5 minutes of this movie, John Connor is taken out. What happens here? Spoilers, right? Sarah Connor is de-aged, and they have a John Connor lookalike. He looks like the kid from Terminator 2, who's not in this movie. By the way, you can easily find this clip on YouTube. I found 3 different versions of it. So what happens is they're on the run, but Sarah Connor's guard is kind of down. A de-aged Arnold comes around the corner, takes out John Connor within seconds. Within seconds, takes him out, and that's it. You know what that did? That wiped out the reasoning and the entire plot threads of Terminator 1 and 2 instantly. Made them irrelevant. It's like, why did I sit around and watch these movies and care about these movies? We're talking like 4 or 5 hours of a total combined film time, however long those movies were, that I watched, I would have watched them back to back before going to see this movie just to prepare for it. Why would I do that now? They're meaningless. The plots for those movies are completely meaningless because you took out the glue of the franchise. Okay, John Connor, I was told he's going to be the Resistance. I need to care about him. And then you just wipe him out within 5 minutes just so that you can put the woke checkbox girl in as his replacement. Do you really think that that's what Terminator fans are going to be? And I'm going to get to a really good article by Society Reviews in a second. But this is the reasoning why this movie is going to bomb. That's the biggest thing. You can't just wipe out. It's like taking out Bruce Wayne and then, we're going to have Batwoman. Oh, wait, what's that? That series isn't doing that good either. So it's a big disappointment. And I think people are really getting sick of this. I don't know why Hollywood keeps doing this. Let's reboot everything and just replace everything. Let's redo everything with a lady. That'll surely drum up excitement, although it's always been a complete bomb. Every time they've done this now, where they've done these, we're going to do an all-female reboot. It's a complete disaster. It's a joke. A joke. So this movie thought it was going to dial it to 11. We're going to, instead of just doing a reboot, which they should have just done, they should have just wiped it all away, done a whole new Terminator franchise. That would have probably been smarter. Instead, they're like, well, we're just going to take the main character that you've grown to care about and we're told was going to be greatness, and we're just going to wipe him out. We're just going to get rid of him. He doesn't exist anymore, except this new woman. Turned out to be a huge mistake. So Society Reviews makes some really good points that I want to go and highlight real quick here. So I got to the points that I wanted to read. So this is what they say. They say, let's not beat around the bush. Terminator Dark Fate is an unoriginal disgrace on just about every level. The very fiber of this film comes off as someone who is ashamed that the foundation of this franchise does not fit their current day intersectional feminist worldview, so they decided to change it by repealing and replacing everything they felt was problematic with more progressive, friendly elements. Now, this is a really good point, which I find funny and kind of sad, because James Cameron is the original guy that could take, female characters and make them amazing. Sarah Connor, who's in this movie, James Cameron, he created her. That's the guy who made Terminator 1 and 2. I don't know what happened to him. Okay. And then you have the Alien movies. Aliens, that was James Cameron. Other movies that he's done. True Lies. He can make a good movie starring female characters in any setting. Guy can do it. But he comes in here and he just takes the wokeness up to 25. And it's like, what are you doing, man? So it's kind of sad that he's like, well, even though I always made the original female badass, I'm going to come here and I'm just going to get a little more intersectional about it. I don't know what he was thinking. This is a complete disaster. And it's sad because he's back in this film. And that's where the hype was, like, oh, James Cameron's coming back. He's going to at least produce it. That's awesome. We got James Cameron attached to this movie, and then this is what happens. I can't believe this is what we were waiting for to be, the savior for Terminator to come back, and he's the one that actually kills it off. He's the one that ruins it. It's kind of ironic, I wasn't expecting James Cameron to be the one to put the final nail in the coffin for Terminator, but he did. He did. So let's start with John Connor, the character who is the primary protagonist of the Terminator franchise, is killed minutes into the film and is completely removed from the equation, only to be replaced by the new hero, Danny Ramos, this is why progressive think tanks are killing cinema entertainment as we know it. That's a very good point, because in the world of intersectionality, the only thing they see is a white male action star who just doesn't fit the bill of the modern Hollywood diversity and inclusion agenda. So he must be replaced. If you thought it was bad enough that they made John a villain in the last movie, I didn't care for that either. But I thought they could undo it, which I thought might be where they go with the trilogy idea. Remember, we were supposed to get 2 more movies of that Genesis trilogy, and it didn't happen. So they made made John a villain in the last movie. The progressive guys decided it was time for him to die, thus rendering the plot of multiple films completely and utterly useless. That's exactly my biggest gripe with this movie. Terminator 1 and 2 they're just done. They're useless now. They're just pointless, which is blasphemy in my opinion, because I personally consider Terminator 2 one of the greatest action movies ever made. And you're going to sit here and tell me I need to set that film aside for this film? I don't think so, brother. Terminator 2 is one of the best action movies and probably one of the best pieces of cinema as far as like popcorn cinema made ever. If you've never seen that movie, you're really doing yourself a disservice. Go watch it for sure. So, at no point does anyone stop and understand that John Connor is the glue that keeps this entire franchise together. The character who both Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese sacrificed life and love for in the only two movies that are worth a damn because he symbolized humanity, leadership, and hope. Once again, another great point, which is what I was saying. You can't just take him out after he was the main part of two movies. Like, we're supposed to care about this kid. He's supposed to be the leader. And you just wipe him out just so that you can replace him. And they point out the person they replace him with right here, which lines up a little bit more of that progressive ideology. Dark Fate gets rid of John and replaces him with Danny, a 5-foot, 100-pound Hispanic illegal immigrant female who learns that she becomes the newest threat to the machines. In short, she becomes the new leader of the resistance. It's a lazy attempt to transfer John Connor's story arc to Danny. That's a great sentence right there. So we're pretty much just replacing him. It's pretty much just taking elements of the first two movies that were greatness and amazing and saying, hey, here's this tiny, tiny little girl. This is going to be your savior now. Right here she is. Let's not forget the they, them, Terminator, human, whatever. It's like a cross between a Terminator and an actual human or something. Not sure, but yeah, I don't really need to touch on that. Let's not forget that, they also, when people were saying, why are you replacing John Connor? Oh, well, you're just a closet misogynist. She's going to scare the F out of you because she's tough, strong, and very feminine. We did not trade certain gender traits for others. She's just very strong and frightens some dudes. Nothing more like lecturing your audience to get them to show up out of guilt, huh? Anyway. The movie's bombing already. I don't see it doing better. Here's the mistake they did. This is their biggest mistake because they were going to make some money probably. They should have released it in America first and China, the two biggest markets for movies. That's where they should have released these movies first. Then release them to the other countries. Now that they've done that, we've had spoilers confirmed. I want to tell you, all of the spoilers that came out months ago that leaked on Reddit were true. All of them. Which is not a good look for this film because everyone was talking about it. This is a horrible idea. And then we had rumors of reshoots. None of those reshoots appeared to have happened. All of the spoilers were confirmed. So that article that has the spoilers, I'm going to link that in the description if you want to just see why you shouldn't see this film. But don't go see this. This is stupid. If you have any love for the originals, you're not going to like this. I'm turned off completely. I'm not going to go see it. You can consider this my review. It's going to be a bomb. I look forward to the next video on this that I cover, where now I'm sure outlets will be calling us all trolls, and that's the reason why it failed. That'll be a fun video. And the reporting on how this movie did financially after a week or so of its release. That'll be a fun video. Other than that, yeah, stay away. Don't see this film. It's a joke. It's just another woke film. And it's a shame that the guy who put the final nail in the coffin that is Terminator is James Cameron. It's a real sad day. Anyway, like, subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. Follow me over my Twitch, YellowFlash Comics. And share the video. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.